Well, hello. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the show. You have found Mason Street Retirement Insights, where every week we turn to our resident financial advisor, Sean Mason. He is the founder of Mason Street Wealth Management right here in Fresno. And he's been helping clients retire with confidence for years. He'd love to do the same for you. So he is here today to break down some of the biggest retirement topics for us. Sean, happy December. Can you believe it? It's December already. Where did the year go?
I can't believe how fast it's moving. It seems to keep moving faster and faster every year, but I really love it. I love the holidays, love getting into December. I got the Christmas lights up.
All right.
Still putting up some more decorations, but it's a lot of fun. The neighborhood is actually participating, so I'm really proud of them because that makes it better for the kiddies, you know?
So much fun. Yeah. What's your favorite thing about Christmas in Fresno?
You know, I love getting together with all the family. All the people getting together, talking, having a good time. Unfortunately, we need excuses like that to get together.
I know. Why don't we do it more often? Why don't we do it throughout the year? Why do we wait till the end of the year?
Yeah, right. And we'll always use the excuse that it's so busy and we got to work so much and do all the things that we do. But at least we take time during the holidays. So it's a lot of fun. And then, you know, depending on what you believe and faith and all that, we can really focus in on that as well.
Absolutely. Well, the plus side is that you and I get to chat every single week of the year here on Mason Street Retirement Insights, and we have got some great stories to chat about today. I'm super excited. But before we get to it, we just want to make sure you know how to get in touch with us because Sean is offering his introductory retirement planning assessment to our first 5 callers today. 559-847-0039 is how you can reach us. And Sean, can you tell us real quick what this introductory assessment looks like with you? What can people expect if they claim some time on your calendar?
Yeah, it's a really good discussion. We want you to come in and, just talk about what's important to you. We want to find out what you're trying to accomplish, what your concerns are, and then just see if there's some ideas that we can give you. Maybe see if there's an opportunity for us to work together and maybe we can help improve your position.
And I just want to emphasize, it's just going to be a phone call to start out. We'll only take about 15 or so minutes of your time, and there's no pressure. There's no obligation. It's just a conversation with Sean and a chance for you guys to see how he could best help you move forward. 559-847-0039 is that number for you again. Sean's right here in Fresno. He's been helping families here in California retire for years. So highly encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity to get on his calendar. One more time, that number, it's 559-847-0039, or if online is better for you, our website is masonstreetretirementinsights.com. You can hit that Contact Us tab, fill out your info, make sure you say you heard us on the radio, and we'll have one of our Mason Street teammates reach out directly to you. All right, Sean, let's dive in. You ready?
I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
We talk about Warren Buffett a good bit on this show, and Warren once said, "It's a terrible mistake to think of stocks as something that bob up and down. If you are worried about corrections, you should not own stocks." So I wanted to ask you, Sean, does that describe a lot of your clients? How do you find the growth that they need without the stock market?
Yeah, Casey, for sure. We all want the upside of the market, and we're all concerned about the downside. And Warren Buffett, we call him the investment GOAT. He's an icon, and he's made such an impact as a mentor to so many of us in the financial community. So we do want to recognize his viewpoints and perspectives, but we also have to realize that when he gives his opinion from a more general perspective, he's considering those individuals that didn't sign up to be a financial analyst, who just want to live their lives and their own passions and not be so hands-on with their investments. And he would recommend to that person to put their money in an S&P 500 fund and let it ride for 20 years. And he says 20 years because he knows there's likely to be a significant market correction along the way. But anyone that's retiring in the next 5 to 10 years or in retirement now knows there's a lot more to it than that. And that's the same for the Susie Ormans and the Dave Ramseys of the world. They all have some good concepts and some that can be critiqued, but each family's situation is unique. There is no one size fits all. So the key is to take all the noise and figure out what applies to your individual situation. And the most effective way to do that is through comprehensive financial planning. But Casey, you asked a really important question. How do you capture the growth in the market, but then at the same time protect from the losses? And for most of us, that means having certainty that our money will be there to provide over the long term. And so it's essential to be clear on your risk tolerance. We deserve to live a stress-free retirement. And then identify the time horizon of each dollar in your portfolio. Some of those dollars will be spent in the earlier years and others spent in later years. We can use more aggressive investment strategies for those dollars that will be spent in later years. And because they have more time to go through the roller coaster ride of the market and catch the average rate of return over time, this allows you to be more conservative with the dollars that will be spent in the earlier years. So, overall, the portfolio is balanced. It's based on a family's individual risk tolerance.
Growth does not have to mean Wall Street. There are other paths to building wealth. The market is not the only game in town, but I think a lot of folks tend to believe that the stock market is the only path for them to build wealth. But there are so many different ways to achieve financial success, sometimes in places that people might not be expecting, Sean. So I was wondering if you could maybe share a story with us where a client found success outside of the market, and what did that journey look like for them?
Yeah, and there are some very powerful investment strategies we can use to target specific outcomes. Most often, we'll combine multiple strategies based on the goals we want to achieve. We've been building a comprehensive financial plan for Matt and Carol, and we're in the investment portfolio phase. And we designed an investment plan that'll support the income and tax strategies, and then focus on what are called risk-adjusted returns. In discussions with Matt and Carol, we identified the levels of risk they're comfortable with, and then combine investment strategies intended to capture the highest rates of return based on their risk tolerance. So using hedging techniques, and Casey, we should note, there are no crystal balls and you can't guarantee results in the market, right. But based on probabilities, we're able to project. Matt and Carol's portfolio will capture 70 to 80% of the market's upside and will participate in 30 to 40% of the downside. Along with guaranteed income strategies we designed in their plan, they'll feel really financially secure. And Carol told me last week, Matt has decided to retire a year early. Oh, wow. And Casey, you and I have been doing this long enough to know that's all because of planning.
Absolutely.
So I want to extend an invitation to our listeners, and I encourage you to give our team a call at 559-847-0039. And if you're one of our first 5 callers, we're going to waive our consultation fee and provide you with your own individual financial planning assessment, tax strategies, your estate plan, the investment techniques we've been discussing, all the elements you have to be addressing for retirement. Again, that number is 559-847-0039. Give us a call, and our team will schedule a good time for you to come into the office or meet by Zoom if that works best.
And just a reminder for you, Sean's right here in Fresno. I don't want you to miss your chance to connect with him. So that number again is 559-847-0039. Remember, this can just be a phone call or a Zoom call, like Sean just said. To start you out, there's going to be no pressure, no obligation. So that number again, it's 559-847-0039. Or you can always visit us at Mason Street, retirementinsights.com. You'll click on the Contact Us tab, fill out your info, and we will have one of our Mason Street teammates reach out directly to you. All right, Sean, I want to talk to you about the great wealth transfer because it is well underway. And this is where baby boomers are passing on trillions of dollars in inheritance. But economist Paul Donovan says we're missing something. Take a listen.
Over the next 20 years or so, $84 trillion changes hands. And you immediately assume the kids get it. This is not what is necessarily going to happen. A reasonable chunk of this money, it will go sideways. Stereotypically, in the boomer generation, wealth was disproportionately generated by men, and genetically, their wives will outlive them. So the money goes sideways. So at the moment, women own about and control about 30% of global wealth. I think within the next 20 years, women will start to control a majority of global wealth.
So I want to get your thoughts on this, Sean. What steps do you think women should be taking right now to get ready for inheriting and managing substantial wealth in their retirement?
Yeah, Casey, this is such an important element of retirement planning and a key topic of discussion. when families meet with us for an initial consultation. Most people think of estate or legacy planning as kind of a means to pass assets to the kids or causes they're passionate about, or even other family members. But I've learned through the years that really their priority is each other. So it's important to know how each spouse will fare when the other passes, especially if they pass early. And there are many things to consider. And I'll point out that it's not just the women. It can be the men as well. We work with a lot of high-income single women, but also couples where the woman is the main breadwinner. And the spouse that handles the finances isn't always the higher earner. So each situation is really different. But with that said, the majority of the time when I meet with couples, I can tell the man is concerned about the well-being of his wife and wants to make sure she's taken care of in the event something happens to him. And that's often a big motivator for men to lean towards going through our comprehensive financial planning concept. It's not enough to feel like there are sufficient assets. They want that certainty and require clarity in how that'll happen. So in their financial retirement plan, we test how the surviving spouse will fare in the event of an early passing. And often we need to implement some type of strategy that will mitigate any negative financial consequences. And it's important to recognize that single women, and Casey, you know this as well because you've been a single woman, not for long. I know you're engaged. When is the wedding set for?
June 6th.
June 6th, and we're also excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Knowing you, I have no doubt that's going to be quite a celebration.
It's going to be beautiful. I'm excited. So I wanted to talk to you about this topic, Sean, because I've dealt with this idea of sideways wealth personally. I've shared with you that we lost my dad very tragically and unexpectedly last year, way before his time. And while thankfully my mom was involved in the finances and she wasn't going into it completely blind, it was still a lot for her to take over at the same time that she was grieving the sudden loss of her husband. So I can't imagine what it must be like for a spouse having to go into it not having any clue about what's going on with the finances. And I will say that my mom has made some changes with her plan now that make more sense for her moving forward into her retirement solo because, I mean, things change, right? The future now looks different for her and the finances have to follow that, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I know your story and you know mine, and they're both so very similar for the moms. And yeah, it can make a world of difference in quality of life by getting it right, especially for a female widow. First step, and probably most important, is to come to terms with whether or not you want to manage your finances and financial plan on your own. And realize you don't have to, and that's okay. You have options. Planning is critical. There are several elements that need to be addressed. Being clear in risk tolerance, and because of that more conservative nature, the portfolio has to be aligned with that tolerance. And then longevity. Most of us men, we're convinced we'll pass early, and there'll be no need for any type of long-term care. But women, on the other hand, they plan to live long and are more realistic about possible long-term care needs. So having that certainty the resources will be there late in life is essential, and planning long-term care strategy, that can increase the quality of care options and then allow for a more legacy to be passed on. But understanding what we call the widow's tax, one of the most unfair parts of the tax code, for most widows, they all of a sudden have to start filing as single, which will usually increase taxes significantly, and then especially when those required minimum distributions start. And then strategies used for passing the assets to beneficiaries is key and should be considered sooner than later. Tax consequences can be greater than most families realize. And Casey, one thing we all agree on, we don't want our hard-earned money going to the government.
Absolutely not. You want to have a plan in place, and that is where Sean and his team at Mason Street Wealth Management come in. So give us a call. 559-847-0039 is that phone number. We'll find you the next convenient time on the calendar to get set up for a conversation with Sean. Remember, there's no pressure here, no obligation. It is just a chance for you to chat through your situation with Sean directly, and you guys can figure out together what that best path forward looks like. That number for you again, it's 559-847-0039. We are standing by right now to take your call, so jump on it while we've got these spots available. One more time, 559-847-0039. 847-0039, or head online if that's easier for you. We are at MasonStreetRetirementInsights.com. You'll click on the Contact Us tab, fill out your info, and we'll be more than happy to reach out to you, and we can get connected that way. That is going to do it for us this week here on Mason Street Retirement Insights. As always, thank you so much for joining us, and we will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from Sean Mason, president of Mason Street Wealth Management. Take care.
Mason Street Wealth Management, MSWM, is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by MSWM on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of Motivate Investments. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. Investment advisory services are offered through Motivate Investments, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. The information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through Sean A. Mason, California, insurance license number 0B54860. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Motivate Investments. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. MSWM is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if MSWM is licensed in your state, please call 559-892-0002.